너 가자.
What's up, Sunny fam? Welcome back to another video. Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha has finally aired its last episode, and we finally have the full picture. Let's talk about it. So we left off with Do-Ha punching Chief Hong because he felt he was responsible for his father's paralysis and paraplegitism. Is paraplegitism a word?
What's that?
Because he thought he was responsible for his father's paralysis. Fast forward to these episodes, and we finally find, or it's finally revealed, the circumstances with which everything happened. And as I thought, and I'm pretty sure as you thought, everything was just a giant accident.
Giant misunderstanding. Well, we had touched on it in our last video, and you can go there, but why would you? In any case,
It's here.
But in any case, in our last video, we kind of touched on like he was in charge of some kind of fund or some kind of investment. It had something to do with a large sum of money, and something happened where we found out that the stock market crashed, and like these people that had invested in these funds have lost a lot of their equity. And so we find out that Do-Ha's father has kind of did some things that he wasn't supposed to do. He was advised against, or wasn't advised to do, losing a lot of his money, and goes on to try to commit suicide.
And it's at this point that Chief Hong is panicking, he's kind of hyperventilating, and he tries to go and see Do-Ha's father along with his Hyung, which leads to the accident that takes his Hyung's life.
It was very sad at that moment because he felt that he was responsible for both.
Yes.
Like he had all this guilt. From Chief Hong's perspective, he felt like he was responsible for everything. From his Hyung's wife's perspective, he was responsible for everything. And from Do-Ha's perspective, he was responsible for everything. But from looking at it from the outside in, it's kind of like, look, he had no control over any of this stuff that just
Absolutely
happened.
not. But this is just one of those classic stories where the person was just there at the wrong place at the wrong time. He wasn't responsible for the stock markets crashing, and he wasn't responsible for the accident, but he blames himself. And that is the crux of him moving to Gongjin and just being all recluse with everyone and not sharing anything with anyone. And I kind of appreciate he's able to work through his baggage by finally opening up to Hye-Jin, right? Because he couldn't work through it because he wouldn't open up to anyone. And that was the crux of their relationship. He wasn't able to open up to Hye-Jin, and in turn, Hye-Jin couldn't accept the relationship. And then when he finally opens up, we realize that he wasn't responsible for anything. And we finally get a moment where he reconciles this fact with himself, and he goes out to visit his friend's grave, but he is met by his Hyung's wife and his nephew, and it's just a beautiful scene where they finally kind of reconcile with each other, and that is the end of Chief Hong's journey. He doesn't have second lead syndrome. Chief Hong Ji-pyong is not going to be, he's not going to lose to another person.
No,
and it's a happy ending for him.
Yeah, I really love that portion of the drama because it's closure for him.
Yes.
Like he's kind of found his new way into life. He's got to live for himself, just as Gamri has been telling him this whole time. And that kind of leads us into Gamri. Rest in peace.
So yes, Gamri did in fact pass away during these moments, and it is kind of bittersweet because she had lived a full life. And because of Dr. Yoon, she was able to enjoy Squid again. And she spent her last night with her friends, just kind of
That was so unexpected.
Yeah.
After the scenes happened, you're kind of like, well, that's very fitting. It was very fitting in terms of the story. She moved on very peacefully. But for me, I was just like, wow. I was like, how do they add this on top of Chief Hong's past coming, closing in on him, overwhelming him? It's a small world, and then Gamri goes. I was, these past two episodes were very tearful for me, and I was just really emotional. I had friends that came over that while I was watching it, and they saw me kind of all teared up, and I was like, what's going on? I was like, I'm just watching Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha.
Then we finally get reconciliation between Ha-Jung and Young-Guk and Hee-Jun, and they're finally getting back together and making it official. And then Mi-sun and Young-Chul, who, he is the lottery winner.
We finally find out the third mystery of Gongjin.
세 번째 미스테리. 복권 당첨자.
But there's an underlying problem with Hye-Jin and Chief Hong's relationship, and that is she was offered a job back in Seoul to work as a professor in dentistry. Does she accept this position?
Absolutely not. She decides that she loves Gongjin and she loves the people there. It's important for her to be the only dentist in town, and so like of course, Chief Hong is there. They're gonna get married. This is just like one of the things, like I was hoping for a very happy ending and we got it. Hye-Jin decides to propose to Chief Hong. Chief Hong decides to propose to Hye-Jin at the very same moment while they were celebrating the very first time that they met on the beach. So they pretty much both proposed to each other, and it was all back to lovey-dovey stuff all the way to the very end. It was very happy, and I'm just very glad to see that this drama didn't have any more twists or pivots that would have derailed the story.
But what did you guys think of the finale of Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha? Did you enjoy the show? Did you enjoy how it ended? Did everything go as you planned? Leave your comments in the comment section below. But as usual, if you enjoyed our video, please leave a like and subscribe for more if you're new to the channel, and turn on notifications and hit the bell icon. This is what we're watching this Sunday, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Hey, stop, 왜 자꾸 들었다 놨다 해 헷갈리게 친절은 사양할게 오해하게 하지 말아요 날 yeah 들어봐